All right, let's get a little questions from Fansville during this segment right here, and I'll answer anything that you guys have for me. So let's get out to it. Let's go out to Fansville. This one comes in from Michigan fan. Can two Big Ten teams make the playoffs? If so, what is the path? Yes, I do think that they can. I don't think that it's all that likely, but I do think that they can. I think a scenario where Georgia were to win out, Tennessee were to win out, Ohio State and Michigan play an incredibly close game. Incredibly close, right? Like it cannot be more than a 3-point game. And if it's in overtime, it's probably better. And then I think that you would need TCU to lose and the Big 12 kind of to get jumbled up. And I think that you would need some chaos in the Pac-12 as well. And then what you would be banking on, if you were a Big Ten fan, is that with that loss, let's say it's an overtime game, and let's say it's you, Michigan fan. Let's say it's Michigan, loses late on the road in the shoe in overtime, double overtime or something like that. You would be banking on the fact that your resume or eye test is better than Clemson. You know, and with Clemson's loss against Notre Dame, I think that you can make an argument. So that's the path. That's the path for two Big Ten teams. Next up. Sean says, do you think Ohio State will fix its run game before it faces Michigan, the team up north? They might. I've seen them in the past fix their run game midseason. In the COVID year, and I touched on it at one point, in the COVID year, they weren't running the ball great to start the year, and then they got much better towards the middle and back end of the season. Part of that was because the style of run game in 2019 under J.K. Dobbins was a lot different than what they needed to do with the style of backs that they had in 2020 with Master Teague and Trey Sermon. Part of the problem is that these backs that they have, Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson, they haven't found the right style. They've been trying to run wide zone and be a little bit more of a finesse run team. And in 2020, it wasn't until they got really downhill and let Trey Sermon sit in the pistol and get downhill until they started running the ball more successfully. I think if you got Mayan Williams going downhill, you would fix your run game. And if you got Travion Henderson on the edge, that would be where he would be most successful. But it's certainly something that they have to address because I'm sure you, Sean, have been checking the weather for November 26th. It's like, what's the weather? What's the weather on November 26th? Because right now that might be, the biggest opponent that Ohio State has. Next up in Fansville. Julia says, out of the teams that became bowl eligible this week or last week, Florida State, Notre Dame, Texas, Kansas, Duke, Minnesota, etc., which one impresses you the most? I thought that the two that I was most impressed with because of the way that they played their games is Notre Dame and Texas. And the reason I'm impressed with Notre Dame is because they've gotten so much better since the first two games of the season. So this is a team that really can't throw the ball. They're 115th throwing the football in passing offense. They're totally one-dimensional, and yet they've gone out there and dominated games with their offensive line. That's really difficult to do. And it's not like Clemson is bad stopping the run. The strength of the Clemson team is in their front seven. So I was very impressed with Notre Dame did. They were great on special teams. Their defense was really good, and their run game was really good. So I give Marcus Freeman a lot of credit. Why was I also impressed with Texas? Well, winning at Kansas State is not easy. Just ask Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State. That's number one. But number two is they were able to correct what has been a problem for them in the past, which is holding on to leads in the second half. They were finally able to do it. And I think that they found the formula that allowed them to do it, which is running the football. Bijan Robinson, over 30 carries, over 200 yards. And I think that type of mentality and toughness out of Texas was something that's going to pay dividends for them here down the stretch as they go back home to face TCU. They're going to get Baylor in their home stadium. And if they take care of business in their home stadium, they're going to find themselves in the Big 12 championship game playing for some hardware. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.